Good evening. Welcome to the combined meeting of Kent County Levy Court. Tonight we have a business meeting and we also have committee meetings. And tonight is Tuesday, January 11th, 2022. We are meeting at the Kent County Levy Court Chambers, room 203. And before we proceed with the business meeting, I'll turn it over to the county administrator to explain how this is done online and also on call-in.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, we are offering this meeting both in person and virtually via the WebEx virtual platform, and we may have guests joining the meeting via WebEx. And for those folks who are on the internet or on a phone, if you, during the course of the meeting, there will be opportunity for public comment at various locations in the meeting. And at those points in the meeting, if you are using a handheld phone, *3 will raise your electronic hand, and our operator will see you, and we will be able to bring you into the meeting room. If you're using a computer via WebEx, you'll see the raise hand symbol icon. Usually it's at the bottom of the screen, and you can select that. And similarly, our operator will see you, and we can bring you into the meeting room. At those points in time during the meeting where there's public comment, we will ask anyone joining us virtually to first state your name and address for the record. We do not have a public hearing this evening, so we will not be swearing any public members in for testimony, but we will be asking for your name and address for the record before your comments or questions. And also want to remind the public that this is a formal business meeting of the Levy Court, and as such, we are following the adopted rules of procedure that Levy Court has enacted, as well as the Mason's Rules of Order for this proceeding. Mr. President, back to you.
Thank you. Posted on the doors, both doors as you came in, there's a sign that says no cell phone. So if you have a cell phone, please turn it down or put it on vibrate or whatever. And also no hats. If you have a hat, please remove your hat. Okay, we'll bring the business meeting to order. Oh, one other thing I neglected to say. We are under mandate to, not only from the state, but from the county government to wear a mask while we're in the building here. So please do so. Thank you. We'll call the meeting to order. I ask Commissioner Howe for the invocation. Pledge of Allegiance, Commissioner Maston. A moment of silence for our troops and first responders, Commissioner Sweeney. All rise.
Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for bringing us all here tonight so that we can conduct matters of business. And we just approach you now and ask you to give us guidance. Pray specifically for the COVID and Omicron, that you would just bring it to an end so that we can all go back to normal lives. Too many people are suffering from this, and we appreciate your intervention. I pray all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence to honor our military, law enforcement, firefighters, paramedics, and other first responders who have lost their lives in the line of duty, protecting and fighting for our freedoms. We also honor all first responders and medical staff who have succumbed to COVID-19 virus complications contracted through close interaction with infected patients, losing their lives caring for others. As of today, more than 840,000 Americans nationwide, 2,373 here in Delaware, and 512 in Kent County have lost their lives to COVID. Please remember all these individuals who died in the line of duty, as well as keeping their families in your thoughts and prayers as they deal with the loss of their loved ones. Deputy Jailer Robert Daniel from the Graves County Jail in Kentucky. Police Officer Zachary Dale Cottingem from the Louisville Metro Police Department in Kentucky. Police Officer Mia Danielle Figueroa Goodwin from the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department, North Carolina. Police Officer Keona Holly from the Baltimore City Police Department in Maryland. Deputy Sheriff Sean Riley, Waynes County Sheriff's Office in Illinois. Police Officer Shane Bartek, Cleveland Division of Police in Ohio. Trooper John Sumter Horton, North Carolina Highway Patrol, North Carolina. K-9 Officer Benny from the Heflin Police Department, Alabama, and K-9 Officer Jedi from the Seattle Police Department in Washington. Also, Fire Investigator Don Gross from the Lincoln Fire and Rescue in Nebraska, Captain Brian Bush from the Mineral Point Fire Department in Wisconsin, as well as firefighter James Ludlam, also from the Mineral Point Fire Department in Wisconsin. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Sweeney. Mr. Naka, can we have a roll call, please, to determine quorum?
Mr. Angel?
Present.
Mr. Buxton?
Present.
Mr. Hall?
Present.
Mr. Howell?
Here.
Mrs. Maston?
Present.
Mr. Sweeney?
Here.
Mr. Pepper?
Here.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 present.
Thank you. We have 7 commissioners present, 6 in the room, and 1 via phone. So we do have a quorum. Need a motion for the adoption of this evening's agenda.
So moved, Mr. President.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Angel, second by Commissioner Sweeney. Have roll call, please.
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Buxton?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Howell?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. Roll call reveals this evening's agenda has been adopted. We have 2 presentations, 2 resolutions. Resolution 3910 is a retirement resolution, retirement of Michael J. Bishop. Can we have that read into the record, please?
Whereas the retirement of Michael J. Bishop, an employee of Kent County, State of Delaware, from his duties as Field Supervisor, Department of Public Safety, Emergency Medical Services Division, presents a suitable opportunity for expressing the esteem in which we hold Michael J. Bishop as a good and faithful public servant. Therefore, be it resolved that the County of Kent express its warmest appreciation and thanks to Michael J. Bishop for the able and loyal manner in which he performed his public duties. Be it further resolved that this resolution be his evidence of a right to the pension provided by the Kent County Employees Retirement Program, and that this resolution be and hereby is incorporated into the official minutes of the January 11th, 2022 meeting of the Kent County Levy Court.
Thank you. This is a resolution 3910. I need motions.
Move to approve Resolution 3910.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Sweeney, and I think it was seconded by Commissioner Hall to approve Resolution 3910. Give a roll call, please, on the resolution.
Mr. Angel?
This is a hard one. I know he's got 30 years, but he looks so young. Yes, he deserves it. Yes.
Mr. Buxton?
Yes, and thank you for your service, President.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Howell?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. I guess Levy Court just approved Mike's retirement. So I'm going to come on down. And I guess we'll go down to the front. All right, all commissioners come down to the front, please.
so much. Thank you.
You look like you got about another 30 in you.
Yeah, somewhere else.
So, okay, gotcha. Well, Mike, thank you. Thank you for your service. There's probably no way of telling how many people's lives you impacted over your course of employment and your service as a paramedic. Probably no way to tell. I mean, because you not only service the injured or the sick, but by making them better and serving them, you also improved their family. So probably just no way to tell. So we're just extremely proud of you and really hate to see you go. I mean, that institutional knowledge is, it's just hard to replace. So we hate to see you go, but it sounds like you got plans. So the best of luck to you. Take care of yourself and be safe and be healthy.
I agree. Was it 30? 30 years. I've come to realize that one of the greatest virtues a person can have is what's called stick-to-itiveness. And 30 years is nothing to sneeze at. So it shows a lot about your character. We'll miss you, but now you can run for governor or something. I don't know.
Yes, we're definitely going to miss you. And I hope you see we get in trouble and we need help, that maybe you can come back and help us during these tough times. As you know, we're all in this together. That's why you're here for 30 years. I understand that. So best of luck to you and good luck.
Congratulations on a wonderful career. There's not much else that could be said that these gentlemen haven't already said, but obviously you'll be missed, and I tremendously am proud of the program that Kent County has.
Mike, congratulations. Whenever anybody asks me what the county does for them, first thing out of my mouth is paramedics, because that is the premier service that we offer. Unfortunately, my family, we've had to use it in the past. What you guys do is fantastic. We're going to miss you. Congratulations on your retirement.
Yeah, I agree with President Pepper. Countless lives, families, it just ripples out. 30 years is tremendous service to the county. Thank you very much for all that.
Mike, you've been a shining example there in public safety. I agree with Commissioner Angel earlier. You look much too young to retire. And so whatever your secret is, if you could share it with the rest of us, that'd be good. And but on behalf of all your colleagues here at the county, your county family, we want to congratulate you and say thank you for those 30-plus years of service. We have a token of the county's appreciation for Levy Court and the county employees that we'll provide to you, and hopefully you can use this and reflect back on your days here. Again, you're probably going to embark on another career after this, but congratulations. Thanks so much, sir.
Maybe after this, we need to look at the Chiefs' child practice laws.
Mike, you're killing me, right? You've made a positive impact in a lot of lives over the years, and you've not only been an outstanding practitioner, but you've been a rock-solid supervisor. Anyone that's worked with you in the department, any of the volunteers or private concerns out there, all of them would say the same thing, that you've been an absolute rock-solid supervisor. It's been an absolute pleasure to work with you over the years and count you as one of my friends. I know that you're heading for the open road, so I would just say safe travels wherever you go. And if the commission would indulge me, we have a presentation to make to Mike. Okay.
Mike, I've known you for 20 years, and you've been a fantastic mentor, a true leader. You've paved the way for so many of us in the division. On behalf of the paramedics and Local 781, as well as the command staff, we would like to present you with this token of our appreciation and a snapshot of your career as a paramedic in the state of Delaware and the county of Kent. Thank you.
Good job. Good job.
Thank you so much. Very nice. Very nice.
Actually, we usually give you an opportunity to comment.
Mr. Buxton, did you have anything to say? Maybe not.
Commissioner Buxton, you're up.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity. Sounds like I missed the festivities, and I'm apologetic for that. But Mike, go enjoy life, brother. 30 years, impressive. Just can say this: thank you for your time and service, and I hope whatever life has in store for you, you really get after it and enjoy it. So God bless. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Your turn. So yeah, it's been 30 years. Easy now, easy now. It's been enjoyable. The county's been very good to myself and my family. We've had a wonderful life with the county. There's not much that I can say bad about it. There are times, but I have enjoyed it overall. It's been really good. The fact that I have worked that 30 years and entitled to the benefits that we're getting through here is a good thing. The only thing I would ask all of you to think about is 30 years is a long time. And when I first started here, the run volume was 5,000 to 6,000 calls a year. You're looking at 15,000 to 16,000 now a year. And the medics that we have, we're short-staffed. These guys are working hard. Guys and gals are working really hard. And I'd really love to see the commissioners and the personnel department and everyone else in the county look at lowering the retirement from 30. I think it would be a huge advantage to not only getting other people to come here to work, but it also allows the opportunity for people to be able to leave this profession and go on and do something else and still have their mental and physical health, because this is huge. I've seen a lot of good and I've seen a lot of bad. And like you said, we don't know how many people I've impacted over the years. But I will share one story with you, my first call. My first call I ever had was in Magnolia with a young lady who was pregnant and having a baby. And the funny part is, 22 years later, I was teaching a CPR class, and that mother was in my CPR class. And she said, I thought I recognized you, and we had a very nice conversation that day about her daughter, who was 22 years old in that year. So that was my first call. So to think of that 22 years later, I've impacted people each one of those years throughout. And I know everyone that I work with and all the administration that's been a part of this. Keith Dutton, who hired me from the very beginning. Every one of those people I want to say thank you to. I really do appreciate it. It's been a wild ride, but it's been fun. Thank you, honey.
Significant other needs to come forward here instead of behind camera. Come here, dear.
It's my wife, Celeste.
She's been on this ride with you, so she needs to go out with you as well. So why don't you just come forward here and we'll present this certificate to you. This is the resolution that was just read into the record. So I just want to present that to you, and something that you can take with you to say, hey, look, I really did retire. So let's get a picture of that. Celeste, you want to get in here?
I'm used to breaking cameras.
Thank you again. Thank you. Sincerely mean it. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
What are you doing on the road?
He's on the road, not me. I'm staying home. He's going on the road.
I'm heading out.
Thank you.
Good job. Appreciate it. Yes.
Thank you. Best wishes.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Oh, and I really appreciate you wearing your dress uniform tonight. Looks great. It still looks good on you. I guess we can go back to the other presentation. Recipient isn't here. Okay, the next item on the agenda is Resolution 3911. It's the retirement of Cindy S. Grigo. Lori, can you read that into the record, please? And we'll have a vote on it.
Whereas the retirement of Cindy S. Grigo, an employee of Kent County, State of Delaware, from her duties as Assistant Director of Public Safety, Emergency Medical Services Division, presents a suitable opportunity for expressing the esteem in which we hold Cindy S. Grigo as a good and faithful public servant. Therefore, be it resolved that the County of Kent express its warmest appreciation and thanks to Cindy S. Grigo for the able and loyal manner in which she performed her public duties. Be it further resolved that this resolution be her evidence of a right to the pension provided by the Kent County's Employees Retirement Program, and that this resolution be and hereby is incorporated into the official minutes of the January 11th, 2022 meeting of the Kent County Levy Court.
Thank you. Need a motion on Resolution 3911.
Move to approve Resolution 3911, retirement of Cindy S. Grigo.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Sweeney to approve Resolution 3911. Second by Commissioner Howell to approve Resolution 3911. Can we have roll call, please, on the motion?
Mr. Angel?
Although she's not here, she's still young. So, but yes, she deserves it. Yes.
Mr. Buxton?
Yes, and best wishes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes, best wishes.
Mr. Howell?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. Roll call reveals Resolution 3911 has been approved by Levy Court, and it sounds like we're going to allow Cindy to retire. Cindy's not here this evening, but I think it would be appropriate if the chief would come forward and tell us a little bit about Cindy.
Thank you, Commissioners. Cindy has has had an outstanding career with us over the years. She is one capable administrator, very shrewd, very smart, well-educated, liked by all, and I really couldn't say enough good about her. She has served the county well over the years. She has served our department well over the years, and certainly our citizens. She's involved in every extracurricular activity that we have in the department. She's energetic. I don't know what her plans are. I think she's on the chill right now, but whatever she does, wherever she decides to go, she will be successful. She is just that kind of a person. The commissioners have met her, I'm sure, and just realized the quality of an individual that we have had with us here in the county. She's going to be missed greatly. Tough shoes to fill, right, John? but very tough. So we will miss her very much in the department.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, all this institutional knowledge retiring hurts, but I guess it does allow for upward movement within the ranks. So the people to fill those positions, they both have some big shoes to fill. So, but I'm sure that that they'll do a great job, just like the ones before them. So we really do appreciate it. So thank you. Mr. Coelho, we have some introductions.
Thank you, Commissioners. As usual, it's an honor and a privilege to be here with you tonight. And the honor to introduce the new employee goes to Director of Public Works, Diana Galt. Diana?
Tonight I have with me Julia Simpson. She started last week on Monday. So she's only been with us a short time, but we welcome her. She's a procurement specialist in the Wastewater Facilities Division. She most recently worked for the Dover Air Force Base as a purchasing agent for the 436th Civil Engineering Squadron. After 22 years of employment, she retired on December 31st. She also has a license in practical nursing from Danville Area School District Practical Nursing. Julia resides in Commissioner Angel's and Pepper's districts, and welcome you to the podium.
Hello. Thank you. And I actually did 30 years at the Air Force Base. I did 10 years as a nurse and then 21 years as a purchasing agent. And I loved working for the military and the Department of Defense. And thank you for welcoming me to Kent County. And I've lived here 32 years, so I'm glad I'm part of, my culture and where I live. Thank you.
Well, welcome to the Levy Court family. We certainly are very happy to have you amongst us now, and wish you another long career here.
Yeah,
and,
as long as I can. I'm not going to stay 30 years.
But the best of luck to you, and you also live in Commissioner Angel's district. Commissioner Angel?
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, Julia, thank you for coming to work with our family and becoming part of our family. While you were at the 436 Silver, did you know Mike Persin and John Selesky?
Yes, of course.
Okay,
yeah.
well, Mike's my brother-in-law's, John's my brother-in-law.
Oh, okay.
And he lives across the street, so if I need anything, I can
Tell
ask
him
them.
my name, he'll probably know me. I was there.
Welcome to the family.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yo.
Mr. Buxton, you still there?
It was yesterday. You're fine. Hold that mask down for 30 seconds. Come on, you'll be all right. Nobody's going to tell.
Mr. Buxton, you're live.
Yeah, Commissioner Buxton, you're live in the Levy Court
I blew
chamber.
that, didn't I? Sorry.
Thank you. Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time we'll recess to committee meetings. First committee is the Administration Committee. Commissioner Angel, I'll turn it over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Pedimage, redistricting map.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mark, if you could cue up the PowerPoint. And in your packet over the weekend, you did receive a memo that details the requested changes that were, thank you, Mark, that were submitted by the Department of Elections to us. You'll recall that on November 16th, Levy Court approved the new district map for the county, and the state law provides for the review by the Department of Elections in order to make final adjustments, because the county is adjusting its map at the same time the state of Delaware is adjusting the representative and senatorial district maps, and from time to time, and we've seen this in past revisions, where after we complete our work, the Department of Elections finds slight modifications that need to be made to make the maps consistent. And so in the memo, there are several exhibits, and I have them on the screen. I'm just going to flip through them quickly. Some of them are relatively really minor. There's one or two that have more substance to them, and just go through. So state law revision provides for the corrections to coordinate with the state boundaries. And that provision of the law says that as long as the overall objective of the law to rebalance the districts is maintained, that these minor adjustments can occur. And they are relatively minor. So the first one deals with the boundary between Newcastle and Kent County. Doesn't really affect any numbers in terms of people. It's really coordinating the boundaries with the official map boundary for the state. Similarly, for the boundary between Kent and Sussex County, when we prepared our map, we were using the data layers that we maintain here at the county for our perimeter. And there are very slight revisions or deviations between our boundary line and the boundary line that is used by the state. The state, as I understand it, uses the boundary lines that have been adopted by the U.S. Census Bureau, and that's why there's these slight modifications. Similarly, revisions to boundaries that traverse open water, and we'll go through a few of the exhibits, but our convention has always been to map to the center line of the water bodies. The U.S. Census Bureau uses block boundaries that they've established. They don't necessarily follow center lines, so there's some slight deviations that the state's asking us to correct there. There are similar deviations between the state map and the county map with respect to alignments along roadways. Sometimes our typical convention is to follow the center line of the road, and sometimes the state boundary follows either the left right of way or the east side right of way and not the center line, and so there's these minor deviations. Again, they don't affect numbers of people. There's a revision to conform to the the municipal boundary of the town of Wyoming. The town of Wyoming has historically been entirely within the boundaries of the 5th District. Through annexation, they've extended their boundary slightly to the north, and that annexation had to do with preparation for the church that was built there along Wyoming Mill Road. And so our boundary map doesn't quite conform to that yet, and you'll see an exhibit that shows them adjusting to that. And the most substantive change, the only one that really involves population, is a requested shift in the boundary between the 5th and the 2nd District, and I'll show you the exhibit in a minute. But this is to conform to the newly enacted representative and senatorial district boundaries between those areas. So the map, this is the portion of the boundary between Newcastle and Kent County. The green line you see there is our current county boundary that we use. The dashed orange line is the one that the state uses. So again, it's very minor tweaks, nothing that affects population. Similarly, along the Sussex County border, our green line is our current boundary, and they wish us to use the orange line. So no significant change there either. This is an exhibit of Garrison's Lake. You'll see a green line that follows the center line of the lake and an orange line that doesn't follow the center line of the lake. And the state is asking us to conform to the orange line, and that is the line that's adopted by the U.S. Census Bureau, which is a block boundary division. And that line continues on through the spillway, down the Lipsick River. You can kind of see it off to the right side of the exhibit, and continues on down the Lipsick River all the way to Lipsick. There are minor deviations, you can see them. Again, they don't affect any population. It's just conforming our data layers with their data layers. And same with the Isaacs Branch coming out of Moores Lake into the St. Jones River. You see there's some minor deviations between the green line and the orange line, and we would be conforming to the orange line if we go along with the state's request. St. Jones River, same thing. Yeah, in this instance, the block boundary happens to follow the eastern edge of the St. Jones River in this area, and we're following the center line of this stream. And the Delaware boundary goes out to the center of the Delaware Bay. Now, most of this affects the 3rd district. Some of it affects the 4th district, you see, but they're asking us to amend our map to carry the official boundary out to the center line of the bay. And obviously there won't be any campaigning out in that open water unless you're tracking down boats or something. But it's just a clean up the map type of request. It doesn't affect any population. And these are along roadways. You'll see a slight deviation between a green line and an orange line. Green line is our boundary, which is, as I said, tends to be the center line of the road. And the orange line is the state's official boundary. And Route 13 at Route 10, you can see they're following the western right-of-way of Route 13 and the southern right-of-way line of Route 10. And that's what they wish us to follow, not the center line. And similarly, further south, or going through Dover, there's these deviations as well. Very minor. At Rising Sun, our line takes a straight run right down the alignment of South State Street. And as you know, there's a slight adjustment there where there's an intersection, and they're asking us to shift the boundary slightly. That little triangular piece will, we would move slightly, and it would incorporate a little more of the 5th district in that little triangular wedge there. Okay, this is Wyoming's northern boundary. You see the lake there to the lower left side of the exhibit, and the line that kind of heads straight north in the center of the image is Wyoming Mill Road. And so this annexation that occurred several years ago to bring the property that's the Wyoming United Methodist Church into the town limits is what you see there, that squared off top. Our current boundary, our election district boundary between the 2nd and the 5th is the green line. None of those parcels that would be shifted from the 2nd to the 5th have population on them, no residential population. So it's, as far as the population goes, it's a moot point, really. The only requested change that the state has given us is this one. And this would shift the boundary. Currently, the boundary between the 5th district and the 2nd district follows Westville Road, coming out of Wyoming, heading west. That's the green line along the southern part of the exhibit there. What they're requesting is that we shift it in a northerly direction. I'll start at the left side of the exhibit. It would follow a stream course in a northerly direction to the intersection with what is the Isaacs Branch, which is the feeder stream that goes into Wyoming Lake. So it would go up around that gray space there that you see with the kind of the X in it, Jenkins Airport. So that would shift under this proposal from the 2nd district to the 5th district, and the boundary would then follow the Isaacs Branch to its confluence with the southern edge of Wyoming Lake, all the way over to back to where our current boundary is, that green line, and back down. So that area there, that piece of geography would shift from the current 2nd district, from the 2nd district to the 5th district. It would, and there are 110 people that were recorded as living there in April of 2020 when the census was taken. And so those people would shift from the 2nd to the 5th district, and the populations are shown there, the slight differences. There's a minor difference in terms of map compliance. It really doesn't affect in any way our compliance with the percentages that we're required to obtain. It's essentially it's well less than 1% of difference. So that's that. And let's see if I have another slide here. Okay. to enact these changes, we're required to do it by ordinance. We adopted the map that we have now on November 16th by an ordinance. We have an amending ordinance that Lori included in the packet. It's fairly simple. Mike Ward, I believe, is on the line, and he's our consultant who's working with us on the mapping. And I believe he's, if he's not completely done the revisions, he's well on his way to making them if Levy Court chooses to move forward with them. And I believe that we also have Chris Ramos from the Department of Elections on the phone as well. And he may want to have a comment or two. And I'll start with Chris. Chris, are you on the line? Chris Ramos? Okay, maybe he's not with us. Mike Ward, are you with us? Neither one's with us? Okay. I stand corrected. My understanding was that they were going to be joining us to answer any questions. So that is what I had to present, and I'll turn the floor back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Mr. Pettimas, Commissioner Sweeney.
Thank you, Commissioner Angel. So, Mr. Pettimas, the bullet points you had at the very beginning, which listed the high level, what you had to make changes to, seems like most of those are one and done. You'll never have to do them again. Yeah. Because why hadn't they been, I mean, it's been 10 years, I realize that. So did the Department of Elections change something that caused us to have to change the way we do things?
On those boundaries, like between Newcastle and Sussex and so on, my belief in talking with Chris Ramos is, they're now using GIS, and they are using the data layers from the Census Bureau, which are slightly different than the data layers that we've been using for all these years. And so that's basically the explanation I have. It's just coordinating the two, actually amending our data layer to match theirs. But yeah, you're right. I think as long as they continue to use the census boundary and the Census Bureau doesn't change anything, then we should be good on those boundaries.
So if that's the case, I get the RD and SD changes, but I also understand that there is still one election district that has 9 voters in that they can't make the change until the state legislature votes on it. Is there a chance they're coming back to us again to make another change? Could they?
Well, I'm not aware of that, but if that's the case, I suppose they could. It's getting closer to the election time, so it's real important that we get the maps finalized so people know exactly where their districts are. But yeah, I imagine they asked us to try to wrap this up based on these revisions this month, and Chris hadn't mentioned any further revisions to us, but if something comes along, I imagine they will.
Thank you.
Well, that makes it easy.
Any other commissioners for further comment? Move it forth to the business, for public hearing on the 25th?
Yeah, you'll later in the business meeting, you'll have an introduction of an ordinance. Thank you.
Mr. Buxton, are you okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, 7-up. Thank you. The grant agreements, Mr. Pettermosh.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. You'll recall that we Levy Court entered into an agreement with the Central Delaware Chamber of Commerce and Kent County Tourism. We initially heard their proposal in early November, and since that time, we've been working with the Chamber on development of the program, and actually the program launched on the 3rd of January. And there's a web portal up, and businesses, small businesses, and hoteliers are able to file applications for consideration of relief assistance using the American Rescue Plan Act funding that we received. And I want to distribute to you all a slightly revised motion. Had a discussion over the past couple of days with the Chamber and the Tourism and our consultant, who is Tetra Tech Incorporated, who will be guiding us on issues related to the ARPA. And there was initially some concerns over procurement, but we believe that there is an effort to work through those, but it may affect the ultimate language, final version of the agreement. But what I'd like to do now is just pass out to each of you a slightly revised motion. I've already shared this with Chairman Angel, and if you could, Commissioner Hall, take one and pass it down. And as that's coming to you, I'll just explain that the original motion was to approve a program agreement with the Chamber of Commerce and Kent County Tourism, a copy of which was submitted to you all in your packet, and to authorize the president of Levy Court to sign the document. And this motion says that what I just said, but it also adds that it would be contingent upon final review, any necessary adjustments, and the concurrence of our ARPA consultant prior to execution by the president. And I spoke with Gina Benfeld, our consultant, just really literally within the hour of our start of this meeting, and shared that idea with her, and she felt that that would be a workable solution rather than just postponing action on it at this time. And so I commend this revision to your consideration, or for your consideration, Mr. Chairman, and members of the committee. Back to you.
Thank you, sir. So, Mr. Petitmage, the program agreement says that the software for making an application will run through the end of April. With Omicron wreaking havoc right now, will we have the ability to extend that software online application? Because there are summer seasonal companies that won't even start getting into business until April or May.
Yeah, I believe the short answer is yes. When we embarked on this, the Chamber and Tourism believed that it would be a 3-month cycle, January through the end of March. And by then, any applicants would have already filed by then. And originally, we talked about doing 3 separate rounds of applications, but as the program developed, there was a decision to just open it up and bring them in as they are received. I do know that there was a fairly heavy response from what I heard the first week. I got a message late Friday that indicated that they had a healthy response to the first week's offering of it, and I think it's been kind of steady since that time. I think ultimately, Ms. Diogo estimated that on that kind of the high end, we might see upward of 3,000 applications. Realistically, it probably won't reach that number, but if we start to bump up against it, or if we start to deplete the allocation that you originally made, there may be an opportunity to come back and have possible consideration of additional funding toward that if it's that successful. But we'll know in the coming months that unfold how it will be going. I think the short answer is yes, it could be extended. That was an estimate at this point.
Any other commissioners? Move it forth to business. Mr. Buxton?
not voting.
Okay. 6 in favor, 1. Thank you. Okay. Investment policy, Mr. Coelho.
Thank you, Commissioner Angel. I think I'm be close to the mic here. So, Commissioners, good news. Your pension plan has been performing very well in the last year. It is up to almost $60 million. And that's due largely to outstanding performance by your U.S. domestic equities, which have returned about 31% in the last year. What that has done for the Pension Review Committee is provided the opportunity to perhaps, with the Commissioner's permission, invest in other types of investments. In particular, they are recommending that you permit contributions or investments in small to medium-sized, mid-sized U.S. equities. So obviously, they already invest in large capitalized stocks, such as, I'm not even sure GE is anymore, but your Microsofts and the like, and also some value stocks, which are undervalued in the stock market. This would allow them to make investments in small and mid-sized companies. They've also requested the opportunity to make investments in opportunistic private markets. And what that will require is a couple amendments to the county's statement of objectives and policy for the pension program. If you approve the changes, the amendments that were included in your packets, they'll be able to take a look at that and perhaps capitalize on the outstanding growth of the fund, because as you know, what goes up in the stock market typically goes down. And this will be a good time to move some of those assets out of the stock market and invest in these other vehicles, which perhaps will perform better in a down market. I hope I've adequately presented that to you. Back to you, Chairman Angel.
Thank you, Mr. Coelho. Any questions for Mr. Coelho? Commissioner Buxton?
No.
Okay, move it forth to the business. Mr. Buxton?
Yes.
7 up. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Any public comments on these 3 items? Any public comments? Mark,
Do we
anybody
have
online?
any guests on WebEx that wish to address Levy Court on this matter, and you're on a mobile phone, *3 will raise your hand, or use the raise hand icon on your phone. We'll let you in.
See no hands raised on WebEx at this time.
Thank you. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you. We will now reconvene to the business meeting. Okay, see, we have no public hearings, no old business, new business. Commissioner Angel, back to you.
Okay, any further questions on the grant? I move to approve the program agreement with the Central Delaware Chamber of Commerce and Kent County Tourism Corporation as presented in accordance with the Levy Court Act of November 9th, 2021, which has appropriated a portion of the American Rescue Plan Act funds received by Kent County to establish a grant program to assist small businesses and hospitality and banquet business in Kent County that have suffered negative economic impacts as a result of COVID-19 pandemic, contingent upon final review, adjustments as may be necessary, and concurrence by the county ARPA 2021 consultant, Tetra Tech Incorporate, prior to execution by the President of Levy Court, who shall be authorized to sign said agreement on behalf of Levy Court.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Angel, second by Commissioner Masson. Have any questions on the motion? Seeing none, hearing none, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Buxton?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Howell?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. Roll call reveals the motion passed. Item number 2.
Okay, investment policy. Any further questions? I move to approve the revised statement of overall investment objectives and policy for Kent County Employee Retirement Program to incorporate the additional fund allocations and clarifying operational revisions as presented.
That was a motion. Need a second.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Angel, second by Commissioner Sweeney. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, hearing none, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Buxton?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Howell?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. Roll call reveals that the investment policy revisions have been approved. Item number 3, Commissioner Angel.
Thank you, Mr. President. Introduction of ordinance LC 22-02, reapportionment of Levy Court districts revised, and ordinance repealing ordinance 21-12, reapportionment of the Levy Court districts, and ordinance repealing ordinance 1120 and replacing those provisions by adopting the district boundaries proposed by the Redistricting Commission of Kent County, Delaware, with regard to a reapportionment of the Levy Court districts for public hearing on Tuesday, January 25th, 2022 at 7 p.m.
Thank you. And that was an introduction. And that's the end of our action items. Item number 1, Commissioner Buxton.
Thank you, Mr. President. Introduction of Resolution 3908, a resolution to extend the Kent County Stormwater Maintenance District pursuant to the Chapter 52, Title 9 of the Delaware Code and Section 90.4E, parentheses 10, Chapter 187 of the Kent County Code, SWN-21-01 Champions Club at Jonathan's Landing for a public hearing on the 25th of January 2022, 7 p.m.
Thank you. Item number 2.
Thanks. Introduction of Ordinance LC 22-01, an ordinance to amend the comprehensive plan map designation and the official zoning map of Kent County, Delaware, pursuant to the provisions of Kent County Code, Volume 2, Chapter 205, Article 3, Section 205-8, Section 205-9, Articles 28, changes and amendments effective December 1st, 2000, as amended for public hearing Tuesday, February 22nd at 7 p.m.
Thank you for those introductions. Other business, Commissioner Angel, item number 2.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to go into executive session immediately following the committee meetings of January 18, 2022 for preliminary discussion on site acquisition for a publicly funded capital improvement, legal strategy session regarding collective bargaining or pending or potential litigation, and personnel matters pursuant to 29 Del Code 10004 B2, 4, and 9.
Thank you. That was a motion. Need a second.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Angel, second by Commissioner Sweeney. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, hearing none, can we have roll call, please?
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Buxton?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Howell?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. Roll call reveals. We'll have executive session on January 18th. Information items. Any commissioners have any information items? Mr. Paternosh.
Thank you, Mr. President. Real briefly, wanted to update the Levy Court on the retreat, winter retreat. We had planned on holding the retreat on the 5th of February on a Saturday here at from 8 o'clock until about 3. And I've spoken with the president and vice president earlier, and would like to suggest that we move the date to the 26th of February if that meets with Levy Court's concurrence. And reason being is we're getting a little short on time, and we had a few things like this winter weather and so on that have disrupted some schedules here, along with the COVID aspects of people being out. And it would help us if we had a little longer time to prepare. So if it meets with your agreement, we'd like to move it to the 26th with the alternate date of March 5th if we run into a problem on the 26th with weather or something like that. So, Mr. President, is there any concerns with moving the
Any
date?
concerns from the commissioners on moving the date?
Okay.
I still don't have any problems with it, so we'll move forward with the February 26th date, with the alternate date being March 5th.
Okay. Thank you very much. Staff appreciates it.
Any other information items, Mr. Sweeney?
Yeah, information item. This coming Saturday, if any of you are even remotely interested in what birds are in our parks, at the library, Ms. Okanewski is holding a birding presentation at 2 o'clock, in case you're interested.
I'm sure it'll be good.
Also get some opportunity to sign up to sit in the park for 30 minutes for a 30-minute period and write down all the birds you see. So, if you're interested.
She does an outstanding job. I'm sure there'll be another outstanding program. Any other information, Commissioner Angel?
Thank you. Don't forget, we have our DAC meeting on, I think it's the 25th of this month, Ms. Petermage. Is that?
Give me a second, I'm not sure.
Our DAC meeting on the 25th? I think it's on the 25th at 5:30 at Frazier's.
20th.
The 20th?
Yeah, Thursday the 20th.
Okay. I knew it was coming up. Thank you.
There's a sign-up sheet in the commissioner's area. Please sign up if you plan to attend, please. Any other information items? How about public comments? Any public comments?
If we have any guests on WebEx that wish to address Levy Court, *3 on your mobile phone or raise the raise hand icon on your computer.
No public comments from online.
Thank you. Any commissioner comments? Commissioner comments? Don't see any. Need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
That was either a late yes or a late no, one or the other. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for wearing your mask tonight and trying to keep people out of hospital, including yourselves.